Right. This is my thrift shop from now on. I've taken over business.
Initially, Moonlight and Magic was actually meant to be another Nancy film. So Moonlight and Magic were actually meant to be Nancy and Skinner, who's a character in Nancy, who appears halfway through the film, looking for a home to take over the next one. That quite didn't work out.
Oh, shut up, you stupid bitch. And thanks a lot for this fucked chicken.
Right. Now, don't make a scene. Just give me the money and you won't get hurt.
You'll have to rape me first.
Hey, can you see that?
What the hell is it?
I don't know, it looks like this thing walking in the nude.
You mean like a nudist? You've got my chicken!
I think we spent about 5 days filming out the Dandenongs, you know, the main core scenes, and with a new cast, with Maxine Klippengatis replacing the character of Skinner with a completely different character. We just had sort of a picnic area, and then we just go off into the wilderness, and the cinematographer actually lives up in the Dandenongs, so he knew all the hot spots and where to go, where it's quiet and all that sort of thing. It was a lot of fun, but it was incredibly hot, and I couldn't wait to do the scene. I think we went to Warrandyte for that. We were wading around in the water.
Look, I don't particularly like living on the run because you once committed a crime you can't even remember doing.
I've known Maxine for decades. We worked together when we were young, and she's older than me, but she was then she was in Prisoner, and her husband was he was the executive producer of the comedy at the ABC for some time, and I'd given him scripts of Boronia Boys and submitted it. Initially, Boronia Boys was a TV series, and had submitted them to him. He loved the series, but after consultation, he said, "I think this is a really good film." And I said, "Oh, really?" Because I'd sort of already done two. Kind of thing was, looking towards maybe television or something, I don't know. And so I then spent the next couple of years adapting it as a feature film under his guidance and his, sort of thing. And he was the one that sort of took it upon, he acted as the producer of the film and then got the cast together and instigated the readings and all that sort of thing.
Check this out, mate. They've got old copies of the Rolling Stone.
Hey,
July 1980.
eBay.
Check it out. It's got articles on the Pretenders, Clash, Mondo Rock, Split Ends, Flying Lizards, whoever they are.
Oh,
Check out the back. It's even got the top 40.
who's number one?
Tied a Toe on the Line by some bastard called Rocky Burnett.
eBay, mate.
eBay, mate.
This one's a go on.
Eventually it got called Boronia Boys because I actually grew up in Boronia, and I noticed, and I was born there and left there when I was about 18 or so. And so as I was writing it, because I could relate to the characters, because I grew up with people like that and went to school with people like that, and who I found completely endearing. That's all I knew. So the more I wrote about it, the more Boronia would come back to me, if that makes sense. So then I just called it Boronia Boys and just set it in Boronia.
All right, we've got a choice of we're going to do a coconut curry or nachos.
Nah, not the curry. I don't want the curry. That means I'll be on the toilet all night. We're going out tonight.
Listen, last time I made the curry, you were on the toilet, but that wasn't because of that. That was because you had too much orange juice.
No, it wasn't. What sort of corn chips did you get this
I told
time?
you which ones I've got. I've got the one July, which for me are too salty.
No, that's all we want. We just want to do them with some cheese and some salsa.
Here, look, dried kidney beans. I'm going to teach you to cook tonight.
What are we going to do with them?
We're going to soak them first and then we're going to cook them.
Oh, no. I just like cheese and salsa. That's it.
When we finished the film, Cameron and I got invited to do a screening of it at the Boronia Library. And just for one night or something or other. And something like that, it was advertised, and something like about 100 people got turned away. And it was just, the whole library was chock-a-block with these people some people walked out, some older grannies who probably didn't like the swearing. And then from that, there was someone there who I think had worked at the Metro, and I suggested doing a season there, and then that was that. It did about a 6-week season there. And then they took it off for the holidays, and they put it, because they had to put all these G-rated kids films on during the July break or whatever, and then it did another 2 or 3 weeks there at the Metro. And its opening week, it actually did better than The Hangover Part 2, which I think was released the same week or something. And the cinema manager basically said that people were starving for local content kind of thing and characters they could actually relate to. He said in a few interviews, and also said to me, that what he liked about the film was the warmth of the characters and the fact that you know, there had been films, Australian films about, you know, those kind of characters, but they were always sort of taking the joke out of them. The cast were perfect together. Everyone worked really well. There was Tim and Cameron, who played the Boronia Boys. Then there was Maxine and Desiree, who are wonderful as the Boronia girls. And then there's Elspeth Ballantyne and Ray Pearce, who play sort of the older ladies of Boronia. So there was sort of something there for everyone.
Listen, mate, I didn't come halfway around the bloody world so you can be passed out in a bloody bed the whole time.
I feel sick.
We picked up the sequel because the characters had a lot more to say. And there was another adventure to be had. And the script was written. The shoot of Boronia Backpackers lasted for about 3 weeks. We'd already shot some scenes here in Melbourne with the characters, you know, from Boronia, Maxine and Desiree, and Elspeth and Raylene sort of characters, and some other additional scenes. And then, so there was a shoot. It was just basically Tim and Cameron going through Europe, and it went for about 3 weeks, 2 weeks, something like that. Things doubled up, like for example, scenes in Athens, we filmed in a Dutch Greek restaurant in the middle of Amsterdam, or the Belgium. In Belgium, we shot scenes in France. Poland became Sweden, and that sort of. So we doubled up with a lot of different things. But then there were exterior shots. We didn't have time. Some countries were only there for like a day or a morning or something, and we just. I think we're in Antwerp about 2 hours or an hour or something like that. And we did about 5 scenes, and then invented more scenes along the way. Cameron's amazing. He's literally got a photographic memory. So I'd give him a script, you know, 5 minutes before we actually start. Of course, I knew all the lines because I'd written the bloody thing. But he'd just look at it and go, okay, we're set to go, spank, and off we'd go and we'd shoot a scene. And a lot of the times, basically, it was me holding the camera, he's close up, then he'd turn it around and he'd film me.
Get any of those Belgian chocolates for your mum?
Nah, fuck, mate, you get cheaper Belgian chocolates in Knox City, mate.
So it was a lot of fun because we went to Sweden as well, where they actually had to Stockholm, which was the final stop. And they had the Boronia Boys premiere there because it was coming out there. And it was amazing. That particular night, they actually showed Prisoner Queen before, and then Boronia, we had a talk, and then they showed Boronia Boys after that. And after those, because Cameron Nugent's also in Prisoner Queen. And so after that, it was amazing. It was, the people there were so nice. We were literally mobbed by people in this street in Stockholm.
Asbestos, ammonia, looks like we're getting